As a Canon Explorer of Light, I have the privilege to test drive Canon's newest gear and innovations. And recently, I was a little bit more than giddy to have the opportunity to shoot their brand new mirrorless camera, the Canon EOS R5. Lindsay Adler here, and recently I spent an entire day creating a conceptual shoot inspired by showgirls and vintage Ziegfeld Follies while using the Canon EOS R5. I'd like to take a moment to share some of my first impressions of this brand new camera and its newest features, which I got to put to the test during this beautiful shoot. One of the first things I thought is this camera feels like home. It feels natural, comfortable, effortless. I went from never holding the camera to shooting a couple thousand images in a day with really no learning curve at all. This camera gives me all the comfort, controls, and familiarity of the 5D line with the benefits of mirrorless, beautiful RF lenses, and some fantastic new capabilities. And that's what it's all about, right? When you're shooting, you shouldn't constantly be thinking about your gear. And that's exactly what I was experiencing with this camera. It felt like a natural extension of myself. I didn't even notice the gear until I utilized some new features that made me think, wow, that just made my life a whole lot easier. On the back of the camera, I have my familiar multi-control joystick and two quick control dials that help me make quick adjustments to my camera settings or easily navigate through camera menus, or a number of other custom programming options. One of the things I probably love the most about the Canon R5 is its incredible focusing capabilities. Seriously, focusing has never been easier or more effortless or more precise. I can confidently shoot wide open with prime lenses, and I know that I'm going to nail the focus. In this shoot, for example, I regularly shot with my Canon RF 85mm 1.2 lens, and I shot at apertures of 2.0 to give me narrow depth of field and smooth backgrounds. And I used the R5's face tracking and eye detection autofocus so that I'd always be locking focus on the eye closest to camera. So even when my subject was moving around rapidly, the eye tracking had no problem keeping up. The camera was doing all of the work for me. This allows me to take shots with movement and razor thin, narrow depth of field that I wouldn't have felt confident capturing in the past. Furthermore, focus and recompose, that is history. It's done. I don't have to worry about my subject being too far to the edge of the frame or having to grab focus and then change my composition. The R5 has 100% autofocus coverage, top to bottom, left to right, the entire frame. So my subject, she can twirl, dance, move around side to side, anywhere in the frame, and I'm going to be able to track and lock focus on her with one of the camera's more than 1,000 autofocus points. If you watch me work, you know that I move around a lot. I'm sitting on the floor, up on a stepladder, an apple box, moving around because I'm trying to get the perfect angle. In other words, I'm a handheld shooter. I usually don't use a tripod because it gets in the way of my creative process. This is one of the reasons that image stabilization is so important to how I shoot. In fact, several times during this shoot, I decided to forego my strobes. Instead, I used the modeling lights as hot lights. But to do so, I had to use slower shutter speeds, sometimes 1/30th of a second. The Canon EOS R5 now features in-body image stabilization, and when combined with an image-stabilized lens, it can achieve nearly 8 stops of stabilization, which is pretty awesome. With the R5, we also have new and improved high-capacity batteries. Now, you can still use your old LPE6 batteries that work in the 5D and the EOS R. They have the same form factor, but the new ones, they last a lot longer. In fact, I spent an entire day shooting 1,500 frames, and I only changed my battery a single time. I love when my gear doesn't slow me down, when its performance keeps up with my shooting needs. As many photographers hoped, the Canon R5 has 2 card slots, one for the UHS 2 SD card and the other for the new lightning fast CF Express cards. Now, this means when I'm shooting, I have the option to automatically back up onto 2 cards, which is really important when I'm shooting out in location or maybe I don't have the ability to tether to my computer. In the past few years, I've started printing fine artwork, sometimes with huge prints. The R5 captures 45 megapixels of information, so I know that I can go as big as I need with my prints, or I have the ability to crop into my shot for more creative flexibility. Now, speaking of printing, I often try to use prints to set myself apart, to make my shoots more memorable, and I love to surprise people on set with images as a thank you. Now, during this shoot, I was able to utilize Canon's brand new ImageProGraph Pro 300 printer. This printer uses similar technology to my Pro 1000 and Pro 4000 printers, so you get many of the same benefits, but it's more affordable and has a smaller footprint, which makes it perfect for your desktop. My work is super high contrast and very saturated, and this printer beautifully handled the detail in the blacks as well as my saturated colors. Furthermore, its anti-clogging technology made sure that on the shoot day, I could focus on the shoot without having to deal with printer maintenance. It just works. The Canon EOS R5 is exactly what I'd been hoping for. It's everything I've come to love about my Canon gear, but then it's more. I can use my beautiful RF lenses, I have familiar and fantastic interface, plus I have all the benefits of using a mirrorless camera. It helps me to do my job better by allowing me to focus on the art of image making.